Joining me now, Marcus Castilla, the director of Roger Bank, also a retired Army lieutenant colonel, and the focus on financial solutions for the military community. Roger Bank is dedicated to serving the military community's needs. It was launched and established by Citizens Bank of Edmonton, in partnership with Nimbus, a fintech provider known for its digital banking solutions. Of course, financial literacy is something we've talked about on this show for many years, but we also need to combine that with financial structure and institutions. Marcus, great to have you here. Let's dive right in. Roger Bank, how do you serve the military community?
Absolutely. No, David, it's a pleasure joining you on your show today. That is a definite need that the military has. What we found out by going out there and talking to different commanders, sergeant majors, and soldiers is that the military does a really good job as far as the service member enters into the military, providing them some financial education, but then it stops right after they join, so that there is a gap. And as you mentioned, that financial literacy needs to continue, because when people focus on their jobs and the military focuses on taking care of us, somebody needs to focus on taking care of them. Because you walk outside of any military base, you still have those payday lenders, you still have those pawn shops, you still have all those different institutions that are trying to take advantage of our service members. So Roger provides the financial education by showing them what their credit score is, what it could be, how they could improve it, which is something that you don't see in a lot of financial institutions. But then it also provides different methods for them to grow their money with industry-leading rates on checking and savings accounts, and then other methods for them to grow their money.
Let's go a little bit further, because, of course, technology is a big part of this. And, in military, while in service, or even after, we're a mobile community. And technology and security combined, and access to your bank is important. So you seem to have taken the next step at Roger Bank with app-based approach. It's something I think most people have seen in some form. What do you do similarly or differently or better in the military community?
Yes, no, absolutely. As you kind of talked about right there, our military community is mobile. We're moving all the time. We're getting deployed. We're getting relocated for the needs of the military. And what Roger does is it allows them, because it's a digital platform, to move wherever they need to go. They can lock it if they go to the field. They can lock their accounts so that nobody can touch them and only they have access to them. So that's a little bit unique. The other part is that it is supported by a 123-year-old bank. So different than some of the fintechs, which created some digital platforms that are only digital and kind of in this ether space that only the tech people understand, where Roger is based out of Citizens Bank of Edmonton, which is a 123-year-old bank, FDIC insured, along with partnering with Nimbus. So it has kind of the best of both worlds.
Right, you have that brick and mortar combined with the new technology. The goal here, of course, is something that doesn't get a lot of attention, or one of the goals, as I learned more about what Roger Bank does. You go into the military, if you're at the lower ranks, obviously that's where you start. You're not making much money, whether enlisted or, for that matter, as an officer, right? You're starting out, but especially in the enlisted corps. And so often, it's not just after or outside the base, but while they're in, many of the enlisted members are targets for outside entities, because they know there's money coming next week. There's a chow hall. They play into this. And part of this education has to be that financial literacy on what to avoid. How do you do that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're exactly right. That continues, and they're faced with that every time that they leave base or anytime that they open up their computer. So what Roger provides is it provides that education to show them what their credit is, how they can improve it, and we're getting blogs included into the next like Roger 2.0, as we're improving our Roger.bank. And they'll be able to go there if they have questions. They'll be able to see how their credit can be improved. But also they're able to create goals, and that's one of the objectives that we're having, is we're trying to help them save money by making them create goals for themselves so that they can see, okay, if I have this goal, I can save money towards it, and then Roger's going to help me by providing that 2% on my checking and paying me 5% on my savings. And then there's something, I don't know if you'd read about this one, is that there's a Roundup Plus match where it encourages the service member to, if they, let's say they buy a soda for $1.50, that 50 cents, they pledge of their own 50 cents to go into their savings account, so they're starting to save. Well, Roger encourages that even more by matching that 50 cents. So they're seeing their money grow and thinking more financially as far as, this is how I can grow my money, and I need to really pay attention to it.
No, I mean, it's a good thing. You're helping. Look, this is from all, and how I assess it from a business standpoint, a good effort to help our service members and, in fact, help their families. While many are single, you know, your younger days, you might be more in the single column. The fact is you're building out towards a family. Now, for the family members out there, for those veterans who, or not veterans rather, but service members who are deployed, what about the family aspect of this?
Yeah, they can open individual account or joint accounts, and they can both have access to it. The service member will, you know, as they open the account together, they can lock it, but it'll always be there. And if they have any difficulties, which is something that we've noticed and we've heard feedback from, is that if they run into any difficulties, they can call our helpline, which they're going to reach a live person. It's not going to be a computer-generated AI or something sending them off to some other place that somebody doesn't understand their situation. With Roger being military, created by the military for the military, you'll also have the option, because our CEO leaves her phone number for anybody that runs into any difficulties that they're not being able to solve with the help center, which they should get to a solution. But she also puts her phone number out there as well, which shows the dedication and the commitment we have to our military.
My guest, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Castilla, the director of Roger Bank. The website is roger.bank. Pretty straightforward there. What else does someone need to know right now? They're interested, they're not sure what's going on. What else would you like them to know? Why should they check out Roger Bank?
Yeah, well, David, to your credit, I mean, giving the listeners the ability to decide by presenting the facts is so important. And with Roger, it's a digital military bank created by the military for the military to serve those who serve. We do this by elevating the standard of military banking. Our service members protect us, so it only makes sense that we have a bank that protects them and helps them grow their hard-earned money. We do this through education, financial resources, along with industry-leading rates to help them grow their money. If you compare and just look at the facts out there, which other banks out there pay 2% on their checking, which pay 5% on their savings? And these are not promotional rates. These are rates that we're going to provide for our service members because we want them to, you know, have a strong financial future. And it all stems back kind of from our CEO having a bad experience when she joined the military, when she was enlisting in the military because she didn't have any money. And her situation was she wanted to do more. She ran into an Army recruiter at the grocery store when she was packing groceries at Homeland. And the recruiter gave her hope and said, hey, you could join the military and you can do all these things that you want to do. She came from not very much money at all. They were kind of doing day-to-day, goes in the military, but had to join with a family member. And that's still the case where, you know, if you're a certain age, you have to have a family member along with you. So she joins the military, goes to basic and AIT, comes back, and she finds out that her money is gone. That family member had cleaned out her bank account. So one of the reasons that our CEO that that situation happened to, and we find out that that's not uncommon. That happens more than we'd like to think. Is that she said, well, now that I've become a CEO, I'm going to pay that forward, and we're going to make sure that that never happens again. So that 17-year-old can join now and open a bank account without a cosigner to join the military, so that that situation doesn't happen to somebody else. And then from there, kind of just created all these other things based on feedback from the military and military members. How else can we make it better for you? And you know, the interest rate on the checking account, the interest rate on the savings account, the Roundup Plus match, all these things were kind of an accumulation of feedback that we've gotten from the military when we say, how can we make this better?
Well, that's what we're looking to do for our service members, for their families. I applaud you, this effort, and actually not just effort. This exists. This is there for you. I like, from a business standpoint, that there's a brick and mortar component of this, rather than just a app-based cyber type of operation. Roger.bank is the website. My guest, Lieutenant Colonel retired Marcus Castilla. Again, great effort. I like what I see, and want to make sure that people have a chance to check it out for themselves.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the time, David. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. 866-95-PATRIOT, 957-2874. There it is for you. Go check it out. Roger.bank. Safety, security, control, growing. You know, when you come out, sooner or later you're out, and it's time to move on with life. You want to have some financial control.